And we are live on Facebook.
Right.
Happy New Year, champion parents, and good evening. Welcome to Parenting in Rhythm, formerly known as Mommy Talk, where we parent with rhythm. You see me cabbage patching? Oh, no, I wasn't doing that. Oh, this is a cabbage patch. Parenting Rhythm is a movement exclusive to parents to receive positive resources and conversations that would increase parental knowledge. It is evident that parents who are informed on how to approach situations that they may encounter with their children can reap the benefits of a positive parental engagement to help effectively raise their children. The goal of Parenting in Rhythm is to uplift, inform, and engage both mothers and fathers by providing information and resources to inspire positive parental engagement. Today, we are discussing mental health versus the pandemic. Now, please feel free and take this time to share our Facebook Live page with others on your timeline, as well as other parents with rhythm. And we are parenting with rhythm with 3R with Miss Sharonda Estelle. She's going to share a poem with us. So it's your platform, lights, camera, action.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And thank you so much, ladies of Parenting and Rhythm. It is an honor to be with you all tonight. I'm going to share a poem called Lights, Camera, Baby. And it's for expecting mothers and fathers. And it comes from the perspective of being excited about a star being born. So here we go. Lights, camera, baby. The time is oh so near for us to welcome a shining star that the world will hold so dear. Take a look around. You're surrounded by VIPs. You are all very important people that our upcoming star can't wait to meet. Be sure to play your part to help our precious star shine bright. With your love, time, and support, you might as well just start tonight. There will be lots of time for paparazzi and pictures. When your star is on the scene, you'll watch the star grow before your eyes so fast, it'll seem just like a dream. There will be many award-winning moments. You won't want to miss a thing. And every coming attraction loves when fans shower them with lots of TLC. Today, the star must share the spotlight. After all, a star should never shine alone. Co-stars were very necessary in making sure a star is born. Mommy and daddy play a huge role in this superstar's life show. They'll be giving acting lessons with love and logic and teaching all the things a star should know. I hope you're ready for some action and to give credit where it's in line by thanking God for placing this little star in all of our lives to shine. Lights, camera, baby. That's right, the time is near for you to welcome a shining star that the world will hold so dear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Snap, snap. Awesome. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank
Love it, love
you.
it.
Thank
Hey.
you. That was so nice.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. We definitely appreciate you for coming and
Yes.
Thank you,
sharing the
ladies.
beautiful poem, Lights, Camera, Baby. Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Dale.
You're
Yes.
welcome. Thank you for
Thank you.
having me.
No
Yes.
problem. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
So, did you know that children respond to calmer tones more quickly than tones that are erratic? Not only are they quick to respond, but there are also benefits resulting from using calmer tones. This includes dispositions that are confident, respectful, patient, and produces clear thinkers. Whereas children who are used to respond to erratic or emotional tones from parents tend to yield timid, impatient, angry, and or sad, and are often not so much independent thinkers. Although not conclusive, they are very strong possibilities. I've seen children laugh at the emotional erratic parenting without fear. However, they may respect and even fear the calmer tones. So champion parents remain calm And think about that next time that you think that you want to scare your children with an aggressive stance, loud and yell. Just make sure that you are speaking calm, because sometimes we do respond aggressively, but sometimes we need to make sure more often that we're responding calm and not as erratic. So that's just a parenting tip.
Yes, absolutely. Well, listen, I am very, very excited. I'm excited. We have our champion mother, champion wife, and I'm trying to find my place. Champion wife and a champion clinical therapist, Miss Tamika Reeves. So, welcome, Tamika. Hi.
Hi, thank you
Hi,
guys for having
welcome.
me. How you doing?
Thank you for coming
Good.
on.
Yes,
No
thank you.
problem.
So let me ask you a quick question. So are you Dr. Reeves?
No.
Okay.
No, although many of my clients still call me Dr. Reeves, and even though I tell them those are not my credentials, but no, I am a master level licensed clinical therapist.
Okay.
Your former teacher, Orlando T. Bogan, said, hey, he said, hello, ladies. That's my former student. You remember Mr. Bogan? Sharonda. Yeah.
Oh, for Sharonda or for
Sorry,
Tamika?
not Sharonda. I'm sorry.
For Tamika.
For Tamika. Yeah. Do you remember Mr. Bogan?
Mr. Bogan. I don't. Not by my. I'm terrible. Like.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe from Cass. Did you go to Cass?
No, I went to King.
Oh, you went to King. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, maybe he was talking about the poet who was on. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm going to have you, because I seem to have lost my place, but Tamika, you are such an innovator, and you have founded a couple mental okay, here you go. Cut. Start over. Okay, so if you could share with us just quickly some of your foundation, because I know you have. Okay, let me just let you go ahead and take it, because I'm
like,
sorry. I'm
just
horrible.
Tell about yourself. I got you.
Yes, thank you.
So yes, like I stated, I'm a clinical therapist. I founded my private practice. For many years, I worked with different agencies around the city, Easter Seals, the Children's Center. I was contracted to work in DPS schools for a minute, providing counseling. I did child welfare with kids in foster care and adoption. But one day I was just sitting there and I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like I'm doing enough. When you're working for those agencies, sometimes it's more about quantity than quality, because they have so many clients and they get shifted around. And I said, I want to open my own practice. And I literally went on Google and said, how do you open your own practice? And I just took it step by step. So I have my own private practice. I've had it now for 6 years. So we've been in existence for 6 years. It's myself, and then I have 4 other therapists that are on staff as well. So we provide individual, family, couples, group counseling. Right now we're all virtual, of course, so it puts a little spin on things, but it's actually been very successful, even though everything has been virtual. I'm more old school, so I really enjoy being in an office with someone, just that connection, but it's been really great virtual. I think people have really enjoyed the benefit of being at home and being in the comfort of their home and still being able to get therapy. So outside of the private practice, I then launched a merchandise line called Protecting My Peace.
Yeah, so, I just saw that today. I don't know why I've never seen that before, but I saw it today, and I need to give me a hoodie. So thank you.
So, because I say it all the time in therapy, you got to protect your peace by any means, protect your peace. And one day a client was like, you should put that on a t-shirt. And I said, you know what? You are absolutely right. So it was outside of my realm. That's not my thing. But again, I Google, and YouTube University can be your best friend. Yeah. And I figured it out. So I have had protected my peace now for a little over 2 years. And it's
Okay.
trademarked. So if you hear anybody saying it, just tell them to come holler at me.
Well, protect my peace.
Protecting my
Yes.
peace. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice.
And so then most recently, well, I won't say most recently, a couple years ago, I came up with the idea of creating a directory that will link people with therapists of color. Because what I often heard clients say once they discovered me was, I've been looking all over for a therapist, especially a Black therapist. It's so hard to try to find a therapist that I like, that I connect to. I just been really looking for one, and it was so hard to find you. And I'm always thinking in my head, like, I'm here. Like, why can't people find this? And I know several great therapists, minority therapists. So I thought of this concept of how about there's a directory that link people to therapists of color. They could put their address in, and boom, they'll pop up. So that was about 2 years that I thought about it, but had some personal things that occurred. Got pregnant.
Well, that was something I looked at today. I was looking through your profile today, and that was one of the things that I noticed, that you made connections with therapists and people. I'm always all about connections, and I think that that's such a great thing, because sometimes people really just don't know, and even how you said you went in Google, but sometimes people, even going through Google, is difficult, because it's like, how do you know, what's trusted and what's not? So I really, that was something I love it. And I'm very, very proud of you. And I'm gonna tell you, I've heard your name.
I would say I kind of look at it like eHarmony, because I always tell people finding a therapist is almost like dating. You get recommendations, you see a picture, you're like, oh, this seemed like a good match, but you don't know until you're in front of them.
A hairdresser, all of it.
So it's like with this database, it kind of alleviates some of that stress and some of that hassle of trying to find a connection, because it is important to feel a connection with your therapist.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So you're busy. And another thing I wanted to, while we're still in the introduction, I wanted to bring up the Michigan Chronicle. I know that you were one of the 40 under 40 honorees. So congratulations to that. Congratulations for the Michigan. Is it Michigan or Detroit Shark Tank?
It was Detroit. It was the North End region.
Okay.
So that was in the fourth quarter of 2019. So it was, I got that. It was like right before the sky started falling. When that happened. So
Okay. Well, thank you. Congratulations to all of that. And so let's get into the nitty gritty. So we're thinking about, we're talking about mental health versus the pandemic. We know that mental health prior to the pandemic was, already at a heightened level. But now we have mental health, versus pandemic, which, that even took it even higher. So what are your thoughts on mental health, like as far as how many children are affected by mental health? I know that's kind of like a 3-part question, but what's your thought?
When it comes to children, one, I would just say in general, if you didn't know what anxiety was, you probably know what it is now. I think in some capacity, in some level, we are all dealing with a level of anxiety with this pandemic, because we're living with this big question mark, and a lot of us are coping very well with it, but there's a whole lot of us that aren't. And we're all kind of in survival mode, where we're doing the best that we can with what we have, and we're just trying to survive. So I think and this is, I'm a little biased because I'm a therapist, and I'm 100% an advocate for therapy, but I think that absolutely everybody can benefit for therapy right now, because I can't imagine that there's anybody that has not been affected by the pandemic in some way, shape, or form. or has some type of worry, nervousness, irrational thoughts, or legitimate fears surrounding the pandemic. And that includes children. You know, it's easy sometimes to not acknowledge their fears and their anxieties in the full capacity just because it looks a little different than ours. But you know, our children are really, really dealing with this on their level as well.
Yeah.
You know, life is the way they know it has just been altered. From socialization, from playing outside, playing with friends, losing family members. You know, some kids have had to deal with death for the first time and they never had before. You know, to the economic and the financial struggles that their parents are going through, or even just, you know, a lot. Children are exposed to the World Wide Web a lot earlier now. So just even what they hear and see online. I know my oldest child, he's 7, so he is like addicted to Roblox. And, you know, the kids literally talk about the politics and Trump and everything else online on the video game. So, you know, it's a lot. Sorry, the youngest one refuses to let me work past 5 o'clock.
It's okay. That's part. Look, that's all part of being a champion parent. Sometimes, you know, you can't turn it on and off. You know.
Yeah.
And
the 2-year-old does not care at all. But yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
For so.
Because I was looking at some of the reports like on the CDC. So they were saying that there's roughly like 17% in the US that are diagnosed with mental health issues or mental, you know, stress or whatever it is, just anything dealing with mental. And that's because that's what we know, you know, but just think of those things that are unknown. And we definitely that, like we talk about like in a school system that we really need to continue to focus on mental wellness because, you know, people are so busy trying to say, oh, we're behind. The kids are going to be so behind because of 2020. And it's like, you know, we're all going to be behind. So we have to stop just only focusing like the children need to be proficient right now. They need to be on target. But part of getting them on target is making sure that mentally that they're able to focus, maintain, and move on. So,
like you were saying, Miss Lisa, I'm sorry. So we always are focused on making sure we have target because, you know, we got our targets that we must meet, our benchmarks that we must meet. Absolutely. But it's all an adjustment period. When we all go back in the fall and resume to our regular lives, if we go back in the fall, but okay, let's say we are going back to fall, it's going to be adjusted for the teachers, administrators, students. It's going to be adjustment for everybody because we've been so off rhythm for like a year and a couple of months. So going back, you know, we just have to be more mindful and just a little bit more patient with each other, including the students, to help them get on target. Because like I said, we all need help. We all need assistance. We all just, you know, trying to make it. So it's important that, you know, like you said, and, you know, the speaker said that we just make sure that we're just patient.
Absolutely. So, you know, you've covered the mental, I think you cover pretty much the mental effects, the mental health effects, which is, you know, stress and anxiety.
I think she froze. You froze a little bit.
Oh, did it freeze?
Oh, yeah. I was like,
and I think you're on mute.
I thought something happened with our Zoom. Right. I was on mute.
Oh. No, Tamika's on mute.
Yeah, I'm on mute. Okay. I can hear you though. You just have froze a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was mine.
So we were.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess it's kind of this all kind of intertwines in together. Even the psychological effects. Do you think that one is higher than the other? The psychological effects of COVID versus the mental health. So I'm thinking of like hysteria, like panic. I guess that would all go in with the, anxiety and stuff like that. Do you think that there's a higher sense of the hysteria, hopelessness, depression? Does it seem like it's a higher, case of that?
Oh, I definitely think so, especially with the depression, because a lot of the coping skills that people typically use to deal with depression are taken away from them in terms of socializing, meeting up with friends, going out, vacationing freely. I get a lot of clients that are not comfortable with being with themselves. And, and that's what we're faced with. Your resources are very limited. So if you're already a person that struggles with depression and then you're stripped of a lot of the tools that you usually use to cope, those issues are compounded, and it's almost like they're starting anew of trying to figure out, how do I deal with this? And even people who have not maybe previously dealt with depression, they may have gotten kind of hit in the face with it, during this time, because like I said, they're left with themselves. I've had literally people say, I cannot be by myself. Like, this has to end. I cannot sit by myself. And, and then we teeter on to a different topic in therapy of, just because you are alone, that doesn't mean that you are lonely. So what is the conflict? What is the conflict of being by yourself? Because at the end of the day, you have to learn how to be able to cope with just you. It's not ideal, but you have to be able to have that skill set. So
like you were saying, Tamika, I like how you said that, we are alone, but you're not alone. Or we like, the slogan, we're alone together. Yeah. So, but we do, like, some people are at home, and I understand they get lonely, but like you said, we do have to make sure that we have coping skills, that we're able to deal with ourselves and be able to function correctly with yourself. And Prevention Man, he responded saying that there has been a heavy spike in alcohol usage since the pandemic started. I guess that's some people coping method to resort to using, alternative drugs or even alcohol to help with their coping skills. How do you feel about that, Tamika? What are your remedies as far as, or what can you suggest for the people who may have resorted to using alcohol or alternative drugs?
And even just think about it in terms of the kids. Everybody's house is not stable. Some of these children were already dealing with parents that had substance abuse issues, who were physically abusive, who had their own struggles, and now they're faced with, like I said, the social issues, the political issues, the COVID family issues within their family. So these pick it up.
Yeah, because some of our students, I know some of the students, they came to school to get away from their home. Now they're at home, so there's no outlet.
Right. Yeah. And so it's definitely heightened. But we're like almost a year in, and what happens with humans is that we learn how to adapt. And that's what you're seeing a lot of, is just that it's almost like it's the new norm.
Yeah.
A lot of us have learned how to, now that's not to say a lot of these issues are not there, have not increased, but I think a lot of us in society, like I stated, we're on survival mode, and we've just learned how to adapt to it.
Yeah. Yep. So what are some ways that you think maybe K through 12 schools can mitigate mental health issues during this time?
I think it would be I even created a program last year, and I was trying my best to pitch it to some schools, but funding issues is hard. But implement mental health into the school. Like, a lot of times we shy away from actually talking about it. There's this misconception. If you talk about depression, if you talk about suicide, that'll make somebody want to think they want to do it. Absolutely not. No, that will make them feel heard. That will make them feel validated, and it will make them feel like this is something that they can talk about. Thus, it leads to them more so seeking help, because these kids are living in a whole different world than we did. with social media, with the interaction that they can get involved in at an early age, the music that they listen to. There's something called emo rap that kids listen to, where they talk about depression and anxiety and suicide and things like that. And, you know, I'm a firm believer music has a great influence on our emotions.
Yeah.
You know, so if you, a lot of the kids in this generation, their coping skills, their first line of defense is, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Not I can't wait to get out my mama house, or I want to run away. It's, I don't want to live anymore.
Period.
I don't want to live anymore, you know, and I think that's highly influenced by music and entertainment and things like that. You know, social media makes them compare themselves. You know, they're comparing their low lights to everybody else highlight because it's just a highlight reel. So I think for school systems to actually address these issues and not ignore them, to talk about anxiety, to let kids know what that is, to let them know like it's natural. You know, everyone deals with anxiety on some level. It's just, how do you cope with it? How do you manage it? You know, to talk about depression, to really explain what ADHD is. A lot of people don't really know what it is. They think it's a kid is hyper. They have ADHD. And a lot of times in our school systems, a kid actually has anxiety, but they're diagnosed with ADHD. Because a lot of times doctors, they go straight to ADHD, medical physicians, because the symptoms look exactly the same, but the cause is different.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't really know that unless you sit down with a therapist and they talk to a child. So I think one, more education, and then having those professionals in the school. One of the reasons the contract I had with DPS was, you see the struggle over here with these, they won't let me. They will not let me be great.
They hand you the broom. They're like, Mommy, you supposed to the broom.
Everything you can imagine, they have brought to this table.
They want to be heard.
Listen, I'm steady pointing in the background, like, go this way.
It's fine.
But this one got my lipstick. She putting it on like.
Hey, it's the perfect time.
Right.
Doing everything. But yes, also having those professionals in the school. I really enjoyed when I had the contract of working with the school system. Because yes, you have some school social workers who are able to do therapy, but typically that's not their job function in the school. They have to do a lot of testing. They have to do a lot to do with the IEPs and things of that such. And then you even have the school counselor. But think about the school counselor. They were kind of like doing the little small issues, scheduling, you know, like they didn't really sit down a lot, even though they're trained to do that. That's not what the school usually makes their role. So when they brought us in, we literally did therapy, and the kids loved it. Like, and it really helped. But unfortunately, you know, it was just so much paperwork involved. But I think if they had actual therapists that strictly just did therapy, that would help too, because a lot of that is put on the teachers. You know, and they're just not trained. They're not trained to do that. They don't have the time to do that. They have a classroom full of kids, and a lot of them have several different issues. So it's hard.
We speak about that often, that you may have let's see, because I know at our school we have 2 social workers, which is not enough. It's not enough. And you know, sometimes they're all over the place, trying to, you know, do their multitasking. Again, the counselors, as you said, I've seen that happen. Teachers, you know, we all feel like we do so many different jobs, and you know, it's like you fill in where you have to, you know, because sometimes it's like when that situation occurs and you don't have anyone, you know, to call, you have to do what you can at that moment. So sometimes we do become therapists and counselors or whatnot.
And you know, certain students just take and gravitate to you, so you're able to assist that student the best way you can. But I did want to say, I worked at a school, Persian, and they implemented yoga as an elective, and it was really good. It was really good. It was actually not elective, it was an after school program, but some of the kids stayed. But it really helped, like with them focusing and being able to, you know, calm their minds. and to help with them focusing, most importantly. So I thought that was really a good program to implement to help with, the different issues that are going on.
Thank you for adding that, Miss April, because I was going to say I was on the Detroit Public Schools website today, and I know that they're offering yoga. From what I saw, that was for teachers, but it seemed like they're talking about more physical activity. And I was thinking about that when you guys were talking a little while ago, but yeah, that's another awesome coping mechanism. But I do think that, remember when we were growing up, well, I'm older than both of you guys, but not much though. But but I remember like when I was in school, we had so many things, choir, dance, just so many things,
Band. We have musical instruments. Remember the musical instruments you just take home? Yeah.
And we didn't just have just art. Like I remember I had wood shop. I had drafting. Like we had our pick of the litter, And I do think that I'm hoping like the conversations has begun about implementing more, what do you call it? Fine arts and just outlets, extracurricular activities in different schools. And I hope they continue to do so. But I think that those would be great, for kids to have. But so what are some warning signs of mental disorders in children? What should parents, try to look out for?
Well, I will speak more so of maybe like depression initially. So some of the things to look for in kids is isolation. Pay attention to their language. I know it's easy sometimes when they're like quiet and doing their own thing, like good, they are quiet, let me lead them along. But it really depends on the age too. But just being in tune of any changes within your kids, like any changes, paying attention to their friends, paying attention to, like I said, the music that they listen to, because it's very influential in terms of their mood. It's when they get into that adolescent age, even pre-adolescent, they typically like to be alone and they want their space, in which you want to respect their privacy and you want to give them that, but only to an extent, because you don't know what's going on behind that closed doors. I've had kids come to me and they have cuts all the way up their arm from them cutting themselves, and parents have no idea because they wear long sleeve shirts, and they haven't even noticed it.
Why do children cut themselves? I thought that, I know I read, because I had a cutter before, when I had a cutter, like one of my students, and I was reading up on it, and it was like they were releasing. It was like a release.
I mean, yeah, you have some kids that really want to kill themselves, And then, can you hear me?
No, okay, I'm sorry. I was pulling my hair because I was trying to say that, they cut themselves. Some kids pull their hair out.
I thought you can't hear me.
I was like,
yep. Okay. You do have the large quantity of kids who really want to kill themselves, but then you do have ones that it's if you don't feel it, it's hard to understand it. But like you just stated, they feel so much hurt in the inside and a lack of control when it comes to the hurt, that cutting is like a control and a release. So to feel that physical pain is almost as like they're releasing some of that pain, even though it's congruent and it seems odd. That's typically how they feel on the inside, even if it's subconscious and they don't even realize that's what they're doing. And it's a control thing, because it's like, I have control of when this is inflicted. So when I get a client like that, the first task is to figure out the function of the behavior. Is this, is this, because there are some that are attention seeking too, and sometimes that's what people automatically assume, and that, that could be dangerous, because it could be really a child that is suicidal. So figure out the function. And with that, we use real language. Is no, do you not want to be here anymore? Is no, do you want to, is your goal to kill yourself? And do you know what that means? Because in some kids, there's a disconnect of the how serious that is, how there's
Right.
no turning back from that because they just hear the language. When I was in one school, I had some second graders write suicide letters and bring them to me. We're in the second grade,
Wow.
and one of them, she had some, of course, there's no reason to kill yourself, but that baby, it did have some like serious family issues going on. But the other one was just her friend. And she was just, oh, my friend's sad, so I'm sad. And my mom yelled at me the other day, so I want to kill myself too. So not even realizing what she's saying,
Yeah.
and what it means to say that, but I think it's so popular.
Yeah.
Like you said, Lisa, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know of, when I was a kid, anybody that wanted to commit suicide. If they did, nobody knew about it. Like,
No.
that was
Yeah.
not a popular thing. You can ask any kid if they know of someone who has tried or is suicidal. I can guarantee you they're going to say, oh yeah. Like, it's not even, yeah, oh yeah, my friend was just in the hospital. Oh yeah, my friend cut themselves, or yeah, they popped some pills. Like, it's literally a common coping mechanism now, and it has no age limit. I mean, like I said, these kids can come very, very young. It's not just teens or anything like that. So one, just being observant, not underestimating your own kid, like, just being very, very observant.
There were, I don't know if you remember this, it was maybe about 2 years ago, there were some challenges that were out there. They had the Momo challenge. There was some other challenges where it was, and they said that some of it was related to the WhatsApp app. But the kids this was a thing where it was like a challenge to commit suicide, where they got connected into these apps, and the app may reveal, well, we know this about you, and we'll share this. So they had to go through, it was like a 20-day process. That was so weird. It was a 20-day process, and on day 20, they were supposed to commit suicide. And it was rumored that one of the friends that went to my kid's school, that he was participating in a challenge, but I don't think that he meant to hurt himself, but he ended up passing away. They were able to get him to the hospital, but by the time he got to the hospital, he was gone, So this stuff, and definitely agree with you. Pay attention to just differences in your children. And it's like, but you don't want to be super paranoid at every, because some things are just a part of them growing up and trying different things and trying to find themselves, because I know sometimes with my kids, I'm always like, oh my God, they're doing this different. Like, it's so funny. My son, he doesn't want to wear boots anymore. He wears and doesn't want to wear socks. That like pisses me off. Like, it's cold outside. You need on boots, But my daughter was like, Mom, calm down. He's okay. I'm like, he still need on socks.
And you know what? And communicating with your kids, like, talking to them. You just find out a whole lot about kids just listening. And a lot of time, as adults, as parents, we're real quick to interject. We're real quick to try to fix and rescue and, amend. And one, like you said, picking your battles. And then two, more so like listening, and then offering those moments to be like teaching moments, because if they feel like they can't talk to you, if they feel like everything they say is going to get shot down, then they'll start to keep things in. And then when the super duper important stuff comes, you will be the last to know.
Yeah.
So, if you build this relationship where it's like, you can come to me for anything. I always tell no.
Listen, we have a prevention man. He mentioned he has a prevention radio, suicide prevention group each Tuesdays at 5:30. You can call 313-649-PUSH. It's for ages 12 to 16 years old. So those are for people or students or children rather who need assistance with suicide prevention. Also, we have a question from Mr. Bogans to Tamika. He wants you to share your thoughts on current social or emotional support that the school offers. Are there any current programs that are in place? Are they good or bad that you can recommend? Should they be modified?
To be honest, I'm not in the school districts anymore. The last time I worked there was almost 7 years ago. So I'm not absolutely sure. I know a lot of the, I think it's a little bit different or difficult, or let's say it takes a lot more with the public schools because of funding and the different boards and the different, different measures you got to go through to implement different things. But I know a lot of the charter schools, sometimes they try different methods and different techniques to help out with the social and emotional thing. I hope that the program that I was involved with, I was working with the Children's Center, and that's where the contract was to implement our services inside of the school. It was called community-based services. So the Children's Center literally had an office. I was at Cody, Osborne, Farwell Law. I mean, we were I think at like 30 different schools around the city. So I would hope that that program still exists. I mean, of course, now that it's probably shut down temporarily, hopefully, but different programming like that it literally focused on mental health and resources. I know when I was young, there was a program in my school. I went to Trix Elementary on the east side, and and we had something called peer mediation, where I was a peer mediator. I was like a little baby therapist before I even knew I was going to be a therapist. But what it was, when they was kids, it was students within the school, and whenever there was like disputes between kids, nothing super serious, but minor disputes, instead of them getting sent to the principal office or getting suspended, they will go meet with the peer mediators and learn like conflict resolution skills and be able to talk about things. And of course, the counselor was there as well to make sure nothing heavy was going on.
That helped you step into your current role.
I was like, look at me. I was manifesting and I didn't even know.
No, you didn't even know.
Yeah, but
how about restorative practices? I know the restorative practices, DPS adopted that years ago. I'm not sure if they currently use it because I'm not in the district anymore.
It's still, they're still using it.
That's it, restorative practices. Yeah. And then we have another question from a listener. They want to know, is there a certain age group that you look at for mental illness, and are there any other signs that we should watch out for a child maybe wanting to, kill themselves or commit suicide?
So like you said, mental health illness is broad. Like there's so many different disorders under mental illness, or different issues, I say too. When it comes to diagnosing, we typically don't diagnose till at least around 6. Now we may see, unless the case is extreme, so we may see some features and we'll pay attention to them and we'll keep our eye on it. But when it comes to brain development and cognitive functioning, things like that, it's very difficult to diagnose before then because the child just hasn't fully developed yet. So you don't know if literally like they're going to grow out of it. But as far as suicidal ideation or self-harm or anything like that, again, paying attention to your children's friend groups. Have they decreased their socialization or even their socialization within the family? And just when you notice those small things, have those conversations. Try to draw them out if you notice that they're isolating a lot. Like try to draw them out. Try to talk to them about their feelings. Like sometimes these are some real scary subjects, and if it is too heavy, definitely just elicit professional help with a therapist. But the communication is the big thing, because in essence, you could just have a kid that is just, alone. They like to be alone. But you very well could have a kid also that is in the room, beating himself up and thinking about suicide and cutting himself and all of the above. So just pay attention to the changes and just really, really being open and honest. And another thing, when it comes to kids, they know a whole lot more than we think they do.
Yeah.
I always tell parents, as adults, we're walking around putting on a face, pretending for the kids because we don't want them to know everything. We don't want them to know exactly how we feel. And they're doing the same thing. Yeah. They know a whole lot more than we think they do. They're the best ear hustlers in the world. So it's an aspect too of being open and honest with them on an age appropriate level, of course, but not trying so much to hide everything because lipstick, okay, because
she wants to look pretty for the camera.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, that's so true. And I like all of the advice that you're giving. Parents pay attention.
Knowledge.
Yeah, pay attention. Communicate. Huh?
No,
what happened? I'm sorry.
No, I was just.
I was just kind of like doing I was just kind of running some things back. So paying attention, being aware of what's going on. What was the other one? Communication, be honest, and I like how you, even what you said about, sometimes we mask and we hide because we want to protect our children. We overprotect them, but sometimes it's like, you got to keep it real and let your child know, look, this is what's going on. I'm feeling like this, because I think that even once we're honest with our children, it'll kind of help us. It's another coping mechanism. It'll kind of help us, kind of move on, and it'll show them like, hey, okay, my mom was going through this, and okay, she moves on.
So that's normal. I'm going through this, something similar, because sometimes you could think that you're feeling a certain way and that it's unique because nobody else communicated to you that they felt a certain way. So you think there's maybe something wrong with you because nobody communicated with you that they felt a certain way. In essence, everybody usually feels, some type of depression, some type of anxiety, but nobody communicated it with you. So you're thinking, okay, it's something going on with me. And it's, in isolation to you.
I get so many adults, like young adults, that we get to the point where they have this conversation with their parents, and then they're like, I wish my mama would have told me then that she dealt with anxiety, or that she was feeling sad, because I just felt like it was me. I felt like I was the only one. I felt like something was wrong with me, so understanding that, like you said, that it's not just a them thing, can usually be very, very helpful. But we're we want, of course, we're protective of our kids, so we don't want to let them know that we're sad or been sad or what we've been through or things like that.
You want to be superwoman.
And it gives this subconscious theory that you're magical, and thus when you don't feel magical, you feel less than. Instead of teaching them the real.
Yeah, so parents, keep it real, listen, communicate, pay attention. So Tamika, you have offered us so much awesome advice, so much, and again, as Ms. April said, a wealth of knowledge, and we just appreciate you. I appreciate you. I know I've been trying to spring and get you on, and some last minute stuff, so I appreciate your patience. I'm glad that you came. I love you to pieces. And I hope your family is watching, because I did try to share it with some of your family members. So would you, do you have any final thoughts of encouraging words to our champion parents?
Yes, look, do the best that you can. Just take it one day at a time. There's no right and no wrong with this. We're all trying our best. Like I said, we're kind of all in survival mode right now. So focus on your nucleus, protect your peace, and just take it one day at a time. I always say that it's never one big thing that makes a difference. It's a combination of little things. If cooking tacos make you happy, cook tacos. Lighting candles gives you peace. Light some candles. If sitting on the floor and playing a puzzle with the kids, that gives them some me time with you and things like that. Just sit down on the floor and play a puzzle. It doesn't have to be a grand vacation. It doesn't have to be all these big, huge things that society makes us think we have to do. Just take it one little thing and one little step, and one day at a time.
That's right. March to your own.
And seek therapy. I promise you, it's literally, you'll love it. Like, I can't get rid of folks. I be telling them, like, you ain't got no issues. You can go now. And they're like, girl, I'll see you next week. It's literally you in a room, you talking. Like, I talk to people normally. I let them know I'm human. I got issues too. Like, kids that don't leave me alone. Like, it's okay. It's okay.
So I wanted to add real quick. I know we're trying to wrap up because one of the things we always talk about as well, you know, that everybody is probably needing mental health checkups during this time. So we were always concerned, like, well, you know, the therapists, they do, you know, they provide the services, but who provides the services for them? Like, you know, do you guys follow your own advice? Do you as well?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. We have to go to therapy to become therapists,
Okay.
you know, in grad school. And then most of us are still in therapy. You know,
Wow.
it's highly recommended. Yeah. So
Okay.
we definitely go to therapy, and when time doesn't permit, we, you know, seek out just consult from our colleagues and have support groups and things like that. So definitely we are not exempt. In fact, we need it a lot, because I sit all day and listen to people deepest and darkest.
Yes, absolutely. And one point I wanted to make, because I can't remember if it was Prevention Man, and I need to connect you to Tamika with Prevention Man. He works for NCADD, which is the National Council on Alcohol and Drug Addiction. But the STEPS program, they do a lot of things with teens. They do internships. But a lot of it is based around mental health. But one of the points, I'm in charge to my head and my heart, but it was either Prevention Man or Frank McGee. But they talked about people, you know how you go to the doctor and you checking on your physical health, that your mental health should be something just as important. You got to check on your mental health as well as your physical health. So can you please share your followings, and if there's any projects that you're working on, share your followings. And Miss April, are you ready to put her followings in the chat? Are you able? Okay, my phone, I'm sorry, I would do it, but I'm over here having technical issues.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, so your followings and then what you're working on next.
Okay, so my private practice is called Transition Family Services. So the website is, you're just gonna make any noise now, huh? My website is transitionfamilyservices.com.
Okay.
And so, like I said, listed on there is myself and 4 other therapists, and our schedules are right there. So you can actually schedule an appointment right from the website. And everything is virtual right now. And that's also my Instagram. We have a Facebook page, which is Transition Family Services, and my Instagram is Transition Family Services as well. Then there's my merchandise line, which is protectingmypeace.com. So I have a few things on there that are cool. I always say, you know, say it with your chest. Yes. And then my newest venture is my directory, which links providers of color, so minority providers, for anybody that's looking for a therapist. We officially launched February 24th, but I am in the process of collecting sign up. So you can go on there and put your email address in, whether you are a therapist or someone that may be interested in therapy. On the site, there will be mental health resources and other community resources, as well as listings for minority therapists. So that website is locatetherapy.com. And my Instagram is at Locate Therapy. Facebook is Locate Therapy. But again, that's locatetherapy.com. It will be launching, and I will be doing probably a series of launch events, getting closer to the launch date. But I need for the word to be spread for that to be successful, because it's something that a resource that the community really needs. Because a lot of times people just can't find the therapist that they're looking for. So yeah, I'm very excited about that one.
Well, I'm excited too.
Thank you.
You know, and we'll talk offline again about some other things. But your name has been coming up from so many people, like, you know, Tamika, she's a therapist. And I'm like, look, here you go. I'm like, look, Tamika.
Right? There used to be an usher at the church.
I'm like, she's a wife and mother now. She's no longer little Tamika. So, you know, it's definitely a blessing to have you here. And again, thank you for what
you guys for having me.
For the community, for the people, and just know, you know, just keep it up. And hello. Hi.
She was gonna get on this camera.
Yes. So
Okay, thank you.
So
yeah.
remember, champion parents, if you are interested in chatting with us and feel that you are able to share what works for you while successfully raising your children, nieces, nephews, or grandchildren, please email us. And you can email us at parenting in rhythm. We are a network, but parentinginrhythm@gmail.com. We are all in this together as champion parents. We like to thank this time to thank all of our viewers and thank you to our special guest, Ms. Tamika Reeves, who gave us a plethora of information. And she has information that I listed in the chat if you want to touch bases with her. Again, we want to thank you for tuning in. And always, we appreciate your support. Be safe, wear your mask, use your hand sanitizer, and remember to practice effective social distancing. Enjoy your evening and good night.
Yay.